became flesh and came to this world to save us.
If you want to solve for the standard deviation, you're going to end up taking a big square root of something.
What do you think about what's going on here?
I think that it's a good work.
It is good work.
Thank you so much for being here, but for having a heart for Jesus, that you are willing to just use your hands and feet to serve Him, your eyes to see what the needs are in your community.
It's such a great group. It is such a great group of just people who love each other. It is like a family. It's like a Lee Park Prep family.
And we want to welcome all of you to the Lee Park Prep virtual open house tonight. I'm Chris Justice. This is my beautiful wife, Becky Justice, and our academic dean and our principal, Debbie Hargett, is here with us as well. And we've got a lot to talk about tonight, and we also want to hear from you. So during the course of our virtual open house, if you have any questions, just send those questions in, and at the end, we will answer those questions for you to the best of our ability and try to get you all the information you need about school here at Lee Park Prep. And this is the world that we're in now, right? We have to do these virtual open houses, but we are willing to do it, and thank you for being willing to watch, because Christian education is important. It's important to us, and I think it's probably important to you, which is why you're watching tonight, and we are so thankful for it. So again, get your questions in, and we'll get them at the end. I want to talk about the reason we have a school, and it's to my right is the reason we have a school. I wanted to have a Christian school at Lee Park Prep, but if I wasn't able to sell my wife on it, how could I sell a congregation on it? And so we talked about it, and Becky had some obvious ideas that the way she wanted it to be, and then we sort of laid it out and talk a little bit about what got us to this point, Beck, because we're doing it unusually. We didn't start kindergarten and build up. Why are we doing school the way we're doing it here?
Well, I mean, first of all, you and I never had a problem with public school. We loved public school, and when our kids started out in public school, and we never wanted to compete with that. And then we never wanted to, there were really great Christian schools in our area, and we were just scared to death of what might happen and how much time it would take for our staff and for us. But the Lord is so good, and He really did clear things up for us. And then the importance of, once we got kids in college and we saw how important it was for them as parents for us to see that our children being raised in our home and homeschooled and learning, everything came from a biblical worldview. And then we realized how important it was for our church people, for their kids to go to college and have a biblical worldview. And we realized that through our church, we had so many of our church members ask us, when are you going to start a school? When are you going to do a school? And the reality is, it's about third grade or fourth grade where kids kind of make that switch, and they start, there's this little nature in them that the sweetness turns into questioning. I don't know if it did in your house, that's how it did in our house. And it was different for them at school. They had a whole different understanding, and they were learning things that we were so surprised they were learning at such a young age. But grade school, I feel like there's really great grade schools, but we get our kids in middle school, and it's really hard to focus them on the Word of God. And so then having what as a parent, and now listen, this is a parent, and for some of you, your pastor's wife's opinion, but I think Christian education is crucial for your children. especially if they have professed Christ as their Savior, they should stay in Christian education. They should be Christians in college. They should go to Christian colleges. I know not all of you think that, and you don't have to think like I think. I'm just telling you, a mother who has found it to be very good for her children to keep that biblical worldview, to have that accountability, to have a curfew. It's a really great thing, but that has been wonderful for our kids. I'm not saying you have to do that. I'm just saying you should think about that. And if you truly are seeing things in your children, you are seeing natures of them that are not submitted to God, do you know how awesome it is to have not just you parenting that, but a whole staff of teachers that their first goal is the salvation of your child and them then discipling them? Discipling is the first thing these teachers think about. It's not just their grades, it is them coming to know Christ in a deeper way. So for a parent, and you have to trust us. You do really have to trust us. You have to trust the teachers, and you have to trust the process here at Lee Park. But it has, as a parent, I'm so thankful for it. For us, and Ty here at church, and watching and how he has to work hard, but yet how the accountability he has across this campus with people who genuinely love him. If your kid has a thirst for Christ, there will be so many people that want to fill that and teach them and lead them in that.
So 2 years ago, we started this. We're getting ready to do our third enrollment. We are 6th grade through 12th grade. We keep the classes small. Intentionally, we're keeping them small. We want the teacher-student ratio to be right. We want to make sure that we know the kids, know the needs of our kids. We're willing to grow a little bit, but we want to make sure that we manage it well, so we grow well, so that we do well. We don't want to just throw a bunch of kids all at once because we could. We want to make sure that we've got the right foundation of who we are. Because the future of what we want to be at Lee Park is what it is now. Strong educational excellence, strong biblical worldview. The Bible is seen in all of the disciplines. God is logical, math is logical, science is amazing. God certainly knows something about that. He can create out of nothing. And then the arts, to show and express, is something that we see in the Bible as well. And then good reasoning, taking the information from the world, but then running it through the filter of how God would have us respond. How do we deal with things in society, how we deal with each other, and things like that. So, yeah, we're really excited about the school. And Debbie Hargett is our academic dean, our dean of students, our principal, our visionary, our smart person. Debbie, what all do you do at Lee Park Prep to make this possible?
Well, we all wear a lot of hats.
We do, you're right.
We do.
Yeah.
I wear multiple hats, but pretty much what you said, academics and as principal. My job is to just sort of make sure we're all on the same page and that we have good, strong academics and a good program.
And you'll get that question. A lot of parents will ask because they want to know right away, what kind of academic challenges will my child have, and will this develop them for college? So ease those fears for people, please. We
do. We are a member school of ACSI, and that is the Association of Christian Schools International. And it's an accrediting body that partners with all of the U.S. accrediting agencies. Our educators also have a stake in this where they are certified, and they seek to maintain that certification with ACSI. Our core courses are aligned through the Department of Non-Public Education and also for the admission standards of admissions in any university or college. And we have a lot of schools that are interested in our students. Some of them are Columbia International, Liberty University, Wingate University, SPCC, and the list just keeps growing and growing as our students apply. But, really, I think the best way to get this across would be for our department chairs to come up and tell how we accomplish what we accomplish in our curriculum.
Yeah, we've got some sharp ones, and,
yes,
and they've got great passion for it. And so over the course of the next little while we're together, we're going to hear from those department chairs. There's another thing about Lee Park Prep that I want to show you now. Our kids are not just in the classroom and on the athletic fields. They go out into the community and do missions. a very important part of what we wanted this school to be. As Becky mentioned, we are trying to develop disciples and resilient disciples to deal with what they've got to deal with in the world. And in order to do that, you've got to get out into the world and see what's going on and see how you can inject Christ into conversation, into life, into service. So watch Lee Park Prep kids do missions that we do here periodically throughout the year. Thank you.
We're here today actually serving with and for Ground 40.
We like to get out every couple of weeks and do missions with the kids, get them involved in the community. To actually put your hands to work and to actually get them out and experience what it means to do community service, I think is a super valuable opportunity.
Okay guys, so we're gonna fill all this in right here, and then we're gonna go around over there, and then the mulch is gonna go all the way around the front of the house.
This is my favorite thing to watch these students do because they come, they participate, they never complain, they're always happy to help, and they truly do have a servant's heart.
The things that y'all are learning in school now are the things that we're teaching these guys. So make sure that what you're grabbing onto, the biblical knowledge you're grabbing onto, you really hold tight to it because it's really a necessity to becoming a grown, mature adult in life.
I was praying this morning for y'all. I was praying that he was going to use you, raise you up, and use you to be servants in this community, this very community. We have these wonderful students back here who are working to sort the clothes, and we have another couple of groups inside the building who are packing food bags.
I'm gonna go get some more vegetables.
Purple beans.
How about I bring out some black beans?
Black beans.
We're excited to be partnering with Lee Park so that we can contribute to those students as they develop into servants of Jesus. We have an opportunity to help people, and by doing that, we get to bless them with Jesus' love. We're here to take care of our neighbors, but we're here to tell them about Jesus so that they can have the ultimate salvation.
Well, and if you're just joining us, this is the Lee Park Prep Open House, the virtual open house tour. I'm Chris Justice, the pastor at Lee Park and the head of school. Debbie Hargett is the academic dean and the principal. And talk about someone who wears a lot of hats, as we mentioned in our first segment. Pastor Jeffrey James is with us. He is the cross-country coach. He is the girls' basketball coach. He is the Spanish teacher. He is the Bible teacher. He is IT teacher, and also does what we just saw there, sort of heads up the mission trips. We have a class here, actually, where we take kids who are interested in ministry and teach them, and then they lead these mission trips. And Debbie and I were talking during the story there. It really, Debbie's favorite day.
It is.
I think for our students, it's the favorite day. And so just tell the people who are watching that, why is it so important to take your kids out of the classroom and put them in the community?
Absolutely, man. I love Missions Day. It's so much fun to take those kids and to go out into the community, because it's easy to sit in the classroom and talk about ministry and the importance of ministry and to talk about the importance of a relationship with Christ, but to go out and actually put that to your hands into your feet and to put that into action is so important and so beneficial. I would hate for our students to spend, 7 years at Lee Park Prep and never have the opportunity to serve in the community, and then they exit into the world and have to learn how to get involved in community service, and so it's super important. And we do some amazing projects. We work with Ground 40. a local addiction ministry here in the community. We've been to several of Lee Park's family churches and done some cleaning up the grounds and planting bushes. We work with Heart for Monroe. That's the Erica that you saw in that video. That was Heart for Monroe, feeding people and serving people by giving them clothes. And next month, we're going to serve with A Cause for Tea, which is another ministry that does great things for women here in our community.
Pastor Jeffrey, you talk about missions, and you know that's my favorite day because our students never complain. They get there, they really, truly have a servant's heart.
Yeah.
And I think part of that comes from what they learn in the classroom, in our Bible classes.
Okay.
So could you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, absolutely. I also have the privilege of teaching our high school Bible classes. And this semester we've been going through the importance of understanding the gospel and communicating the gospel and how to share the gospel with people. And part of that is through words, but part of that is through going out and showing the love of Christ through your actions. And so our Bible classes, the way we've got that structured, so for high school, it's a 4-year rotation, and we want them to go through all these pieces. And so starting in this fall, we'll have an Old Testament survey, which will then lead into, in the spring, a study of a book of the Bible, an Old Testament book, how to study, how to get into the Word. And then the following year is a New Testament survey, and then a study in a New Testament book or a couple of different New Testament books and how to study your Bible on your own. And then we want to take our students through a study of world religions. And world religions isn't what it was when I was in college. World religions now has kind of changed. We'll still talk about Islam and those kinds of things, but Marxism and secularism and humanism, these are kind of the subtle world religions and philosophies that are infiltrating our minds and our thoughts. And so if we can prepare our students to identify those and how to respond to those using apologetics and things like that. And then, like I said, this semester we're just going through how to live the Christian life, how to share Christ with people, how to become friends with people who need to know Christ. And then in our middle school, Mrs. Nance does an amazing job working with our middle schoolers, and they're on a 3-year rotation. And right now they're on a journey through the entire Bible. So they'll spend 1 year just a full Bible survey. And then their second year will be a Christian living study, how to live out your faith and how to own your faith. And then the third year, they're going to do just a year study on the life of Christ. Who is Christ? Why is he so important? What was he all about? And how does that apply to us as believers?
Thank you for sharing that.
Absolutely, my pleasure.
The Bible is our first class of the day as well, and students really enjoy that and start off right for the day. And I'd also like for you to have a chance to see a little bit more about what happens in our classrooms. So right now we'll have a video, and then Pastor Landon will join us.
In today's world of education, teachers and students connect in both the virtual
I know some of you have some presentations to present
and the physical classroom. Our educators are experienced in online instruction with a student experience focus to create an engaging virtual classroom of learning. On-campus facilities include a safe environment with the COVID protocols in place. A few of the daily safety checks include screenings, temperature checks, as well as classroom cleaning. Our courses include a biblical worldview integrated into the curriculum. Each class is student-centered for a learning environment that promotes student success. Lab opportunities will include evidence-based experiences and discussions. So when we're talking about blood typing, you always want to look at the antigens on the red blood cells and the antibodies that'll be in the serum, both for ABO groups and for Rh factors. And as we've been talking, this impacts who can donate to who. So when you look at this, because O doesn't have any antigens on the red blood cells, what do we know about an O-specific O negative? What are they?
Universal donors.
They're the universal donors, so they can give to anyone. But can an O negative receive from just anyone? No, right? They can only receive for themselves. So that's why it's so important for all blood types to give blood, but especially O negatives, right? Who can take from anybody? If you look at this board based on who doesn't have any antibodies in their serum, who can take?
AB positive.
AB specific on the positive. So we would call them the universal recipient. That's exactly right, yes. I have now blood typed myself, and I am a B. Do y'all see everyone sees the reaction there on the B? Yes? Okay. I have a son who is O. What does that tell you?
He can give to you.
He can give to me. So what does that tell you about my second allele? I have an allele for a B, and I have a little I for my second allele. That's exactly right. So I am heterozygous, meaning I have the big IB and I have the little I. Very good. Let's get you guys typed. All right, so I'm going to come around first with the anti-A serum. So 2 of you happen to know that you are A. So you are expecting a reaction on this. It just takes a little drop of the serum. There you go, that's plenty. Now do you see the reaction?
Yes.
Once you lifted it off the paper, you could see the reaction. Ty, lift yours up off the paper. I can see it. You got enough of a reaction. Yep.
It's clumping.
All right, I'm gonna test your Bs. Now, I'm the only B in the room, so we don't expect anyone to have a reaction, right? All right, and you're right, you have nothing. Now we're gonna test the RH factor. I'm gonna talk to you about this one. This one's harder, okay? It does not happen as quickly. Now, everybody at this table, I believe, already knows you're positive. So you're all expecting a reaction here. But what you're going to find out is some of you with the RH will react very quickly, and some of you it's going to take a while. In fact, when we would do this lab at college, we would use a heat lamp for some people because it was necessary to get it to react. The RH factor is almost more like a cloudiness. When you look at it, now that's great. You see it now? It just takes it, when you rock it a little bit, you'll eventually get what Jets is. All right, so a little bit of questions here based on what we now have confirmed. I'm B positive, Ty's A positive, Kelsey's A positive, Jet's O positive. Who can give to everyone?
Jet.
Jet can give to anyone, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, can we give to Jet?
No.
No.
Everybody's greedy.
Because we're all greedy. That's what Jet says. So Jet is just so generous, right? There's lots of heredity stuff we could ask, but I think we've probably covered a pretty good amount of stuff there.
It's a really neat look inside of the classroom at what happens, and Pastor Landon is here. Pastor Jeffrey here, Pastor Landon here. A lot of our pastors are involved because guys like Landon, who went to college as a biology major, God called you into ministry, but still gave you a great desire to teach not just the Bible, but then how science can interact with the Bible. And it must be a real blessing for you to use those skills you got in college. What's it like for you, Landon?
That's incredible, because the Lord did call me to ministry my senior year in college, and you start asking some of the questions, how does all of this work? But God's hand's on everything. And I just think that's so important for our students to understand at Lee Park Prep, for all of us to understand. God's hand is on everything. And He doesn't waste anything. So that all the biology, all the math, I'm able to utilize it now in the classroom, and it's really is a blessing to me to be able to do that. And I just would like to say, God's hands on everything is something that we use with our curriculum as well. We want our students in the science classroom to understand that. God's hand is on everything. So when you study biology, you're studying creation. And one of the things I like to do in my biology course is we like to do discussion boards where we talk about worldviews. Because there's a secular worldview that would talk about evolution. Then there's the Christian response. And I want our students to have the ability to know what an apologist says about that. And so they can research apologists, know what they say, and have them sort of in their arsenal as they go to college, because what we're prepping them for. And as their faith comes under attack in that case, they're able to. And then, of course, in math, God's hand's in everything because math is logical, as you said earlier. Yeah. One of my favorite lines of the night, math is logical. I don't know if our students always agree with that, but I certainly agree with it very much so. So it's probably going to show up in my class a couple times. Pastor Chris says this is logical, so math is logical. But yes, sir.
That's good.
Tell us a little bit about how the curriculum, and we talk about integrating the biblical worldview. Tell us a little bit about the curriculum that we work with and what we do in our math and science programs.
But in addition to, we talked about the biblical worldview in it, I think the curriculum itself for each course matches the standards set out by the state so that our kids have the same competitive edge. When they take the SAT, they've had the same preparation that students at other schools would have had. When they go to college, they've had the same preparation as well. One of the other things that I try to do, and we try to do very hard here, is help students understand how this could be useful in life. Yes. Because I think that's where STEM, science, technology, engineering, mathematics, I think that's where that falls apart sometimes for people, because they're sitting in the classroom, why am I learning this? And again, with the discussion boards, I have all my students research STEM careers you would enjoy doing, and then how do you achieve those STEM careers, just so they can be aware of where is this applicable. And I just think that's important, not so much just the publisher of the curriculum, but if you can get a student to understand why it's important to learn this, why this matters, and how this could be beneficial, then, whichever publisher you use, you can integrate the biblical worldview with it, and you can match those state standards that you want. And when they take the SAT, they're ready. When they get to college, they're ready. I just think those are such important things.
Well, thanks, Pastor Landon. The other person in the shot right now, some people need no introduction. Unfortunately, she got no introduction, but she probably does not need one. Many people probably would be watching this saying, wait a second, I know Nora Brooks, and she's the chair of the humanities, and we are so blessed to have you and your great experience, your great knowledge, your great ability to share information. And as chair of the humanities, this is right down your alley. You're really good at this, but you really, like Landon, he loves the math and sciences, but you really love what you get to do, and we're so glad to have you at Lee Park. Tell our folks a little bit about you.
I think that was just a nice way of saying I'm old. Because sometimes I do feel like I'm the old lady on the faculty, but this is the pinnacle of everything that my career has led to, is to be a part of Lee Park Prep. Because I am passionate about the humanities, about the literature, and particularly the history. That was my background, was teaching history for 27 years before this came into my life. And so, and the reason why I think that history and literature too are so important for our students is it tells us where we came from, so we'll have some direction as to where we're going. And too often I think we have sacrificed that to the snapshot, slide view kind of approach to history story studies, and even in our literature, that we're trying to conform to a culture that is problematic at best for a biblical worldview. And what we are hoping to do here, and what my passion is to do, is to show the kids that there is a past to be proud of, and there's a future to hope for, and that God's hand has woven His grace and mercy through all of that.
That's good.
Talking about weaving, can you tell us a little bit about how we do curriculum mapping here?
We are really happy how things have fallen together this year by adding the middle school, because now we are able to, for instance, we'll start with English, our English studies. We are focusing on grammar and vocabulary, and really honing the writing skills and the communication skills that will form a foundation that will be built upon each year, so that when they graduate, they will be articulate communicators, both written and in oral form, and therefore able to stand out in a world that has become abbreviation crazy and texting crazy, that our students will be able to write a good paper, to express themselves, to do the research, sound research that shows discernment in choosing their sources, that does not fall prey to, again, just cultural vacuousness. I think I just made a word up.
No, I
that
totally
will
got that.
actually delve into sources that will give them the facts that they need to do sound research, whether it's in English or history or science or math. And so in that regard, our English studies are foundational to the rest of the whole curriculum. But also we do stress literature. We read a wide variety of things, both fiction and nonfiction, primary source documents, speeches, sermons, and of course, our fiction that we choose to read. And we're very careful in what we choose to read. We want to select works of literature that allow us to teach again lessons that can be applicable to discernment throughout life. And so to that end, we will be reading this year everything from the classics of like the Epic of Gilgamesh to Beowulf, to classical modern authors such as C.S. Lewis and those in the Christian genre that our children can continue to learn apologetics, and they can continue to build on the foundations from Bible class and all those other areas. So we want to use the Christian works of literature in with the secular so they can learn what to do and what not to do and how to apply that to their lives.
We can't have all of the teachers up, obviously. We have lots of them. You guys are the chairs of your different departments. But I want just to talk just a second about some of the other teachers that we have here. And you guys are fantastic, obviously. By the way, I should say that, and I'm going to start with you, Nora. You can talk about your teachers, and then Landon, you can too. I'm learning a lot about history because my son is in your classes. So he comes home and shares these things with me, and just wonderful the way you tell the stories and the way he takes it in. And then, of course, with Landon, you know, when we homeschooled, math was not so much our thing, as maybe a lot of parents who homeschool. How you made it so he can understand it and get it, praise God. I think it's awesome. But talk about some of these other teachers you've got that serve.
We have a fantastic faculty that range from youth and enthusiasm and also a sound foundation in their own studies to experience, and that, you know, there's no substitute for either of those things. In our history department, we have Addie McWhorter, who's a first-year teacher for us, but who loves history. That's how we met. And we would sit at Chick-fil-A and talk history and tell stories, and they would run us out. But her passion for the whole gambit of history and how well she has integrated in history studies the biblical worldview, because we have tried to take that out in the rest of the curriculum, to take out that God's hand has shaped world history and how I feel about making sure the kids understand his hand and providence in the U.S. story. And so the connectiveness of that. But literature is an expression of a nation's story too. So when we look at world literature and we look at American literature, we're doing the same thing. We're saying here is the moral foundation of our country is still seen in our literature. And so in the middle school we have Emily Hill, and she's doing our 6th, 7th, and 8th grade grammar and vocabulary and those foundational things, doing a super job. Lisa Nance is doing the 9th and 10th grade English with doing world literature and also the composition, you know, again, continuing to build the vocabulary and writing skills that are necessary for the kids to succeed. And then I have American and British literature, and having more fun than I ever thought I would have doing that, which is probably worrying to the kids, but they're so patient with me. And then U.S. history is the other thing that I get to teach in American government. And if we've ever needed a sound view of where our country came from, it's today.
That's right.
And so the burden is heavy, but the privilege is immense.
That's good. Lana, what about your group?
I want to start by saying also awesome things about Miss Nora here. I hear the stories as well. I get to hear them in the workroom with the teachers and just the incredible passion and love that she has, and I know how that radiates throughout your department. But it's just, and the other great thing I just say about all of our teachers here, and you hit this, Pastor Chris, they pray for our students.
Mm-hmm.
They care for our students, and that spiritual development is so important to all of them. You know, and I just think that's so important for a Christian school. I want to brag a little bit on the folks in the math and science department. We have Mr. Ziegler, who does such an awesome job. He works with our middle school maths, 7th and 8th grade math, and he works with Math 1 for the high school. And you talked about trying to help students maybe get caught up. We know students are at several different phases, especially with math right now. with everything that's happened in the past year, the way different math courses have been taught. There's a wide variety, and he has done a wonderful job helping students get on track. Meeting them where they are, working with them through everything, working with group projects, being able to assess them to figure out what's going on, kind of where the areas of little weakness are that they need to kind of work through. He does such a great job with that. And then we have Miss Phipps, who does teach our 6th grade math and all of our middle school sciences. And I want to be in Miss Phipps's class. I mean, when you make
pizza last week.
That's right. When you make a model of an atom with a pizza,
Yeah.
that's my kind of class, right?
That's
right. So, and those kids are always coming in to all these fun things they've done in their class, and like I said, I want to go to Miss Phipps' class. It looks like a lot of fun, and I don't want to leave out Miss Hill because she also helps us in our math department. She teaches our foundations and personal finance class. That's a class that's very important for us that our students take that. We teach up to AP Calculus here, and it's great if you can pass that exam, but if you can't balance a checkbook, you're in trouble.
That's
right?
Yeah.
So we're thankful that she does that. It's through the Dave Ramsey program that they have for high school students, and again, so important that those kids go out with that foundation of understanding their finances as well. Yeah. Absolutely.
And I will say some of the teachers are joining us tonight online. So that's the other thing that is remarkable about this staff is they don't leave the minute that the students leave.
Right. Yeah.
You can find us hanging out any time of the day in different areas on campus, and they're joining tonight. And if you ever want to see, or you're having a bad day, you come here in the morning for our screening and our car rider line, you're going to have a good day.
It's a good start.
And we haven't really mentioned a lot about our Tuesday elective classes, but I want to mention Kathy Landon is doing a special class just on World War II, which I'm very envious of, but doing a great job with that. We have a history of movies class, we have photography, we have just good solid elective classes that give the kids some hands-on experience with Mr. Whipple with art, and they have done some incredible
beautiful
things.
masks.
Beautiful things in there that again allow them to explore in a little bit less pressure-packed way some very interesting avenues, and also our creation class that helps to with the apologetics side of things of where we came from. And so it's every day of the week there are dynamic things happening on this campus.
No, that's great. We're going to talk about sports now, and I do want to mention also, Landon mentioned something very quickly there about we teach AP Calculus. It's our 2nd year of existence. And that guy and his big old brain got us qualified and approved in our 2nd year to teach AP Calculus. So I would never take it in a million years, but we have kids that are really smart that are taking, but thank you for pursuing it and getting it. What a bonus for our school to teach that so early. So now I get to talk about sports. I didn't do a lot of AP Calculus in school. I didn't do any, but I did really like sports, and I think sports is an important part of the student life that you have in a school. And we have great sports from cross country to basketball to soccer. We're going to be adding softball and baseball. We have a fishing team at Lee Park Prep. We have cheerleaders. We try to open up as many doors as possible for athletics. We're in a middle school conference. We're in a high school conference. We're in a state association. And in a couple weeks, our boys basketball team, because they're 19-2, they will go play in a national tournament in Pennsylvania. So we are trying to improve that aspect of the student life here. We've got a new gym that we've renovated. More ball fields are coming. A brand new soccer field is coming. Let's take a look at some of the sporting activities that we have here at Lee Park Prep. Go, run. Yeah, tomorrow night our boys will play for our conference championship. We're co-champions, and we'll play for the tournament championship tomorrow night, so it should be a lot of fun. Our fishing team, by the way, was the top team in the state last year, so it's fun. We enjoy it. We travel all over the place with the kids, and we're doing some good things. The atmosphere at our games have been really good too. So we're thankful for the way the Lord has blessed us to have all of these sports here.
And chapel. Chapel is something on Tuesdays along with production and performance. And chapel provides students the opportunity to gather on Tuesdays in the worship center as a school. It's led by Pastor Chris. And this time includes the study of God's Word. And it's outlined with topics that are covered to help students better understand their faith and the culture around them. The chapel service includes music provided by the school praise team and members of the student ministry class, who often share devotions or lead in activities. We believe that students are equipped when they understand the times they live in, and they're better able to engage in biblical truth with others on matters of truth and the Christian beliefs. Following chapel, students attend production and performance classes led by Becky Justice, and with the focus on the elements of acting, theatrical design, and production, students experience avenues of fine arts to develop their creativity. This year, the class will present the classic musical, The Sound of Music.
Isn't that cool? I'll talk about chapel real quick, and then we'll bring in the star of our production department. Love doing chapel. Love having all the students in. Love to talk about some pretty serious things, and we do talk about serious things with them. We were going through the American Gospel series, Christ Alone, and then we took some time to look at Gen Z, some information about this current generation. We talked to them about being resilient disciples and what it meant to be a resilient disciple. We've gone back to the American Gospel series about Christ crucified, and it's pretty deep, theologically strong. Our middle school kids are trying to keep up as best they can, but we believe in raising that standard high and having them reach for it. Our high school kids really engaging in some really good, strong conversations.
And the questions that they ask afterwards.
It's very impressive, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
They ask really good questions, and they're just taking it in and then applying it to their lives.
Mm-hmm.
And man, I love having the students, the whole student body gathers together for chapel on those elective Tuesdays. It's a lot of fun.
Special days.
Yeah.
And this lady also makes it very special.
Yes, she is. She is. Those Tuesdays that Miss Nora talked about, those elective days, on those Tuesdays, my beautiful wife does performing arts here, which is, I love having the students together for chapel. They have more fun in your class.
Oh, that's not true. That's not true. It is so fun for Pastor Chris and I to have all the kids. I can't believe how good they are. It's the last two classes of the day, and when I come in at the end of chapel, I mean, they ask the best questions. They love talking to him. We love to pretend like we are parents of 84, however many kids are. We meddle in their love life, and we talk about their love life from a hot mic and tell them, then nothing can hide. If someone got in trouble that week, we know about it, and then we call it out. It's really very fun. Your kid will love it. Your kid will really love it. Anyway, performing arts and production. It is, of course, it's something that it's brand new, as the school is, and we try to add something every year. Next year, we're going to do our very best to add a concert band. Maybe not a marching band, but at least maybe a pep band too, but definitely we're going to do our best to add a concert band to part of that. The kids are exposed to our production staff. I mean, it's so neat to go to school at a church that has a production department that can teach them. Tom Butler
Absolutely.
and Jacob Melton can teach them so many things. With COVID, it is certainly, we just today, Miss Debbie and I just got back from a dinner with Miss Nora and Mandy Messer, who helps us with so many things, and we picked the cast of The Sound of Music, which we're getting ready to start.
It's pretty tough.
Oh yeah, it's very, yeah, I love all those kids. I would make them all a star. They can all take a turn being a star. I hope their parents still talk to me, and really Miss Debbie picked most of them, so just remember
Oh,
that.
no, it was Nora.
Yeah.
Nora did.
Yeah, no, Nora did. That's right, she's the most popular. Yeah, But in that too, then we have a praise band that sings before chapel, and they get to go with Mr. Jason Fraley, our worship director. They are exposed to so many things, and we want to keep opening every door for them. If we can't teach them that, we want to open an avenue for them to learn. This musical thing, Pastor Chris and I, we grew up doing musicals all through our school. We went to a smaller school, much like Lee Park Prep, maybe just a little bit bigger, but we always, the middle school was involved in the high school productions, and Pastor Chris, he was a really great football player, super cute too, but he also did the musical and was the lead 2 years in a row and loved doing it. His brother did it, my sisters and brothers did it, and we all loved doing it. And then Pastor Chris and I got to be the leads together one year, which was really super cool. Isn't it funny? We're 50. I just turned 51. He's 52, but I can remember that moment like it was yesterday. Yeah. I could sing, but I couldn't really act really great, and so Chris would lead me along on things, and then it turned out that the first night, we did 3 nights of it. The first night, I lost my voice just because I was filled with fear about it. And he came up, and we were singing "I've Never Been in Love Before," and he put his hand in the small of my back and sang it when I couldn't sing it. And I thought, I love him so much. Then he ran for a touchdown and lost his shoe. That was an added bonus. An added bonus. But we are exposing them to that. These kids don't have any idea. They've never done anything like this, but it is controlled chaos. The rehearsals are fun. It's fun to learn how to see how the stage does. It's fun to set up scenes. It's fun to learn how to read a script, learn how to read music, learn how to sing correctly. There's so much that you can learn by just doing a musical at school, and we are getting ready to do the second time trying, because we couldn't do it last year, but we are going to do The Sound of Music this year.
Well, stick around. We're going to take some questions from people who've been watching, and we want you to stick around for that.
Oh, okay.
And I think, well, we've got a question now. We're going to put it up on the screen. Yep, there it is right there. There's a question that we got. Do you do achievement testing? So, Miss Debbie, if you would please answer that question for the viewers.
Yes, we do. We last year, at the end of the year, of course, we did not. We had a waiver from the state. We are governed not only by the church, but the Department of Non-Public Education. And this year, we will test the students, as a matter of fact, next month. And we test in grades 6th, 9, and 11. And in some cases, the 11th grade could be your PSAT or your pre-ACT. And so yes, to answer that question, we do.
Which Miss Debbie was great about taking the kids to do that last year. It took them 2 times to take the PSAT and help them get ready for everything. So
the fact that Ty's already taken, if some of our other kids have already taken some of these grades or some of these exams, which is good. And with all the COVID things that have been going on, you mentioned, we sort of everything sort of had to shut down unusually. I do want to mention this though, because some people might be asking. The fact that we're having school is wonderful. And people have had to quarantine, we've had to take breaks at different times. We're being very safe and very careful. If you're concerned about that, our kids wear masks when they're on campus, and when we get them together, they have assigned seats at lunch so we can make sure that they're spread out. And if there is a case, we can kind of isolate it quickly. In chapel, we keep the middle schoolers on one side and the high schoolers on the other. So we're doing a lot of these things to work through some of these COVID issues that we're having to deal with. But at least we're in school.
That's right.
And I'm thankful for that. Here's another question. What does the student's daily schedule look like? Well, Miss Debbie, I'm going to read and you can answer. How about that?
Well, they start at 8 o'clock. Drop-off starts around 7:30, and so from 7:30 to 8, they drop off, and then at 8 o'clock, they start with Bible. That's the first period for everybody. And then second period, third, fifth, lunch. I didn't count in order, so maybe I'm not really good at being the academic dean, but our school day ends at 2:45.
And
we're
Monday,
on the semester system.
And we are on a semester system. We are Mondays through Thursdays with Fridays as our e-learning day. And so we have assignments on Fridays, but that's all done online through our Google Classroom.
Our Core 4 classes are taught Monday and Wednesday and Thursday, Monday, Wednesday, Thursday. Tuesday is elective day. And what we did with the students that I thought was so much fun, we had elective selection day. We brought them all in here to the worship center, and we had a draft. and they were able to draft and select the electives they wanted, from history and movies to World War II to creation to photography to art to student ministries to all these different things that we teach on Tuesdays. And so that's it. So Core 4, Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, electives on Tuesday, e-learning on Wednesday, which gives the opportunity for families, if they want to get out of town a little bit early, they get a little break and can do that. All right, here's our next question. How do you prepare students for college? I can start this, and then Miss Debbie, because you'll have the good parts of these answers. One of the things I liked our department chairs all said, I love this, is about how the curriculum, we are setting the curriculum based on the tests that these kids are taking to get into college. We want to know what's on the ACT, what's on the SAT, because we want to guide what we're doing for that, because we're a prep school. If kids want to go to college, we want to make sure that they're ready for college.
Absolutely.
And so we're always thinking about that, but maybe you can give some more specifics on how we're preparing their kids for college.
I mean, that's pretty much it in a nutshell. You know, we prepare through the curriculum, but we also have educators that are interested in, you know, working with them. And next year we will add someone in that area of career counseling and, you know, coordinating on that to help them learn a little bit more about just, you know, when should you start applying? Where will you look for scholarships and that sort of thing? So we do take that very serious.
Yeah, it's interesting that when we had the open house for people that were here and in person, those are the questions we get. Those questions we got tonight, those are the questions that we primarily get. And so we're glad to answer those. Another question we get is, what about class sizes and can my kid get into school? Well, our re-enrollment at Lee Park Prep was phenomenal. I mean, our kids that wanted to come back, man, I don't know that there's anyone who's not coming back. Pretty much most everyone is coming back next year. We're just waiting, some of them decide if they want to go from full-time or from part-time to full-time. So there aren't a huge amount of spots open for next year. But we are making some space available. Of course, we're adding a new 6th grade class. We are going to let our classes get a little bit bigger to let some of these folks come in, because we want kids to come to the school. And so we're making space available for your kids to get here. But my advice to you would be to apply quickly. Apply quickly. Get your student in there. Come in for the interview. Let's get to meet you. Let's get to meet your student. But I would not wait. It's open now for church members. It will then open to the general public after that. And I would not hesitate. I'd get involved quickly.
Yeah, there are just a few spots.
Few spots. What would you add there, my beautiful bride, to what we talked about?
Well, just as sometimes I just want to wear a T-shirt that says I got kids in college homeschooling them, but because I can't believe that happened. But one of the things about when it said get ready for college, I think that the best thing that we taught our kids, and we weren't great with math. I mean, no, we were not great parents with math. We were not. I'm very sorry. We're confessing our sin. We were terrible. Some days we skipped it and went to Dairy Queen. Anyway, but the grace of God. But the key element for all 3 of our kids that are now in college has been their biblical worldview. And having that and being able to share it and leading with that in their discipleship. They're all 3 in leadership positions as far as spiritual leadership because of their understanding of a biblical worldview that then is shared to them. And it has firmed up their faith. It has kept them. And that we give praise and honor to the Lord. There is no other way to do that. Teaching your kids to understand that God is creator God, that he works and weaves and does, and the only way to get through college is to submit your life to him. That's been the best plan for us as parents. And so, yes, there's an earnestness in us to truly submit to you, just for you to think about. Christian education is a really good avenue for you and your children if you want them to stay in a relationship with the Lord.
I'll close this in prayer in just a minute, but I want to hear from Miss Debbie. It's been a good couple of years. Looking forward to number 3. How's the school impacted you?
Oh, my word. You can't imagine the opportunity that you have every day when you come here. And there's always something different. And there's just always a chance that you can see growth in the students. And for me, that helps me. just being faithful in my study and being a student of the Word has grown as well from being here.
Yeah, well, that's good. I'm encouraged when I come and meet with these kids. I'm encouraged when I see them grow. I'm encouraged, as I was last year, when a young man and his girlfriend at the end of his senior year came up and met in my office to talk to me about making sure of that salvation in his life with his girlfriend and praying with them up in my office. Maybe still my highlight. There was another young man in the school this year, sort of that same thing, just kind of wanting to know. I've been around it, but I want to make sure that Christ has rescued me, and all the things that we do, it's great. It really is great. But when you see lives change and the light come on in a young man's life, the light come on in a young woman's life, this is, as we say a lot here, almost jokingly now, it's a good work.
It is.
It is.
It's a good work.
It's a fun place to be around. I count it as a huge blessing in our ministry and all the Lord's accomplished in our church to have just the audience of them for one time a week. They're fun kids. It's a fun group. And they're open to new people coming in. They are, and it's just been such a blessing. And we're so thankful for Debbie's faithfulness and her persistence to do all that. She and Landon, as they pick out great curriculum and make sure our kids are ready academically, but spiritually. It's been a great blessing to have Debbie with us.
And knowing that they have their own faith when they leave and go to college and not mom or dad's.
That's right.
That's important.
Man, that's true.
Well, I'm thankful that you've been watching us tonight, and I want to close this in a word of prayer, and then we'll be finished with our virtual open house. Hopefully by this time next year, everything is in person so we can get to see everybody. But I'll pray, and then we'll be done for the evening. Father, we are grateful for your leading that made it possible for us to have this school, for your protection of the school as it was being put together, your guidance in the school now as we've been making these first couple years steps. And we pray for wisdom as we advance about the growth of the school and how many are to be added and the direction in the future. God, we don't want to miss anything. And so we're trusting you to give us the wisdom to make the right decisions, make us sensitive to your leading so we would follow and be with our students. That these young men and women would be resilient disciples following Christ, that they would get the information that they need to make them better people, and then their faith would be strengthened to make them better Christians. And we'll be careful to give you the praise and honor and glory in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Thanks so much for watching. Have a great night.